I think I've got this nice little carved out space for me to hide and grow. There's no growth when you're constricted by your own limitations, and that's where we see a large proportion of men today. They've been marginalized to the side, so they're kind of carving out that space as their own. No, you were pushed to those. You didn't choose to go there. So instead of being on the boundaries and the outskirts, it's time for us to take our place back in the center of existence, the center of getting
Gentlemen,
what's going on. Another great day to be alive. It's another day to quit playing hide and seek from ourselves, to begin to explore, seek out what it means to be a man. More important than that, what it means to be a powerful man, a man in charge. As a child, I had a lot of cousins, man, so we were always in and out of things. And I remember one day we were playing hide and seek inside the house, and my parents had this big elaborate headboard on the frame of their bed, and it allowed a little bit of space behind it, like it made a 7 against the wall, and there was this little confining space. And one day I remember I crawled back in there. I was thinking, yeah, they're never gonna find me. But I started getting claustrophobic, man, and I felt very constricted because it was this kind of very narrow space, and I was kind of a little chunky boy, and I just felt like the weight of the world was coming in on me, and I started freaking out and screaming. They all came in there and found me and laughed at me. This is the Better Man channel, where we choose freedom. We choose to remove ourselves from the constrictions of limiting ideas, limiting beliefs. We want to expand, to explore, to become these well-rounded men. Nietzsche talks about men of the past, how they believed all that they were doing and all their beliefs and values were good. They knew what was evil. They knew what was good. They knew what could progress society. But if we look back at the past, we can see where men were flawed. We can see where value systems were flawed. We see atrocities of the past of men that might have had good interest, but that was just their thinking at the time. We can see that. But somehow we get misguided into thinking that our age knows everything. We have the right, perfect answer, but I guarantee you, a generation or two later is going to look back on us and say, yeah, they were a little flawed. And in the current situation, the landscape that we have, I think they're going to believe, man, they were a lot flawed. But we get so caught up in those convictions that we actually constrict ourselves from expanding. This is physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, whatever it is. We all have those little monsters in our life that we're dealing with. And I think for the most part, it's because we're looking at them from one angle, thinking we know everything. And like those men of the past, there's a lot of room to expand. There's a lot of room to grow. Once you think you know everything, then there's nothing else to learn, but I promise you, there's always something new to discover. There's always a more freeing space than constricting yourself in that bed where you get claustrophobic. And if you're anything like me, there's a lot of areas in our life where we feel choked out, claustrophobic, we can't breathe, we don't know how to get out of the situation, we feel stuck, and we're screaming out in one way or another. We see society screaming out in one way or another right now. And I feel empathetic to a lot of groups that are just screaming out this unidentifiable generation. It's because we think we know everything. We come to that point where our pride and our ego takes over, and we're so stuck in a particular conviction that we can't escape from it and free ourselves when the time calls for that to be so. We have to be willing to adapt, adjust, change. Again, in whatever area it is, we all have those little monsters, those little things that we're dealing with. You can look at someone's life and they may look perfect on the outside, but we're all dealing with those things. And so in order to become a better man, to become that sovereign man that's free from the constrictions, we have to have a mindset that says there's always something to learn. There's always a different angle to look at this situation. I talked about it in yesterday's video. We're in a society today where everybody's arguing ideology against ideology instead of saying, hey, what's the basic principles and value system here? What can we do to look at this situation from different angles so that we see what's right, what's wrong, what can be revised? In your life, any area of your life, finances, emotionally, spiritually, physically, what's the problem? What can I do to learn from the problem? Is there anybody out there that may know something more than me that I can maybe emulate. Maybe they can mentor me. Maybe I can ask a damn question, get rid of my pride so that I can learn something new. But no, we're too busy having air quote fun, being claustrophobic, stuck, confined behind the bed, thinking we know everything and oh my God, look at this perfect hiding spot. Exactly. You're not hiding from anybody else. You're hiding from your true self, your true potential. That's where we see the current culture today. That's where I've been on a personal level. I think I've got this nice little carved out space for me to hide and grow. There's no growth when you're constricted by your own limitations, and that's where we see a large proportion of men today. They've been marginalized to the side, so they're kind of carving out that space as their own. No. You were pushed to those. You didn't choose to go there. So instead of being on the boundaries and the outskirts, it's time for us to take our place back in the center of existence, the center of getting to know what it means to be a man. What are my qualities, my characteristics? What's the true nature? Does it mean to grow, to progress, to be strong in every area of my life? I'm tired of not only being pushed to the boundaries by any external sources. That happens. That's life. Life sucks sometimes. Life is hard. Let us get harder. But more importantly, I'm tired of allowing myself or even pushing my own self to the boundaries by my pride, my egotistical ways, thinking I know everything. And clearly 6 months from now, I'll be looking back and thinking, shit, I didn't know anything, and I wish I would have listened to that guy. I wish I would have taken note of that little principle that someone suggested to me. The idea here is in order for us to get better, in order for us to grow and to be stronger and to have that free sovereign life where we're not constricted, is to begin to look at our life. Like we can look at the past and learn from their mistakes. Why can't we bring that eyesight and perception into the now? What can I do better now and today so that 3 months from now, I'm not looking back and saying, what an idiot. I wish I would have did A, B, and C. Today is that inner reflection where we say, what the hell can I do today so that 6 months from now, I'm not looking back and saying, what an idiot. It literally takes 5 or 10 minutes to sit down. Think about it, meditate upon it, write it down. Listen, I want this body. I want these goals. I want this. I need to kind of revise my thinking in this area. Maybe I need to read that book, talk to that guy, listen to the video so I can actually learn something and quit confining and being claustrophobic in my own ideals and thinkings that are actually limiting me. And I'm wondering why my life is absolutely in chaos and sucks. Those are the hard questions of life. And in this participation trophy culture, a lot of people aren't wanting to confront that monster on the bed because they say, hey, I'm perfect. I get a trophy for showing up, so they don't do the hard work. And I'm kind of on the beginning end of that generation, so I fought with that. And I fought with other self-inflicted wounds where I'm stuck up in here, confined, constricted in this claustrophobic state where I'm thinking, I know everything. I'm entitled. It should just come easy. That's not life. Whatever you want, better body, better relationship, better career, better life, better community, better friendship, better family. It's going to take work, and it's also going to realize that the other person on the other side of that, they have a mindset too. They have beliefs too. They have values too. They have a past too. And in order for us to deal with that in a progressive, productive, conducive manner, we've got to realize maybe we're not always right. Can I revise my thinking so that it fits into this situation? Let me not confine myself with limitations. Let me not be constricted with idiocy. Let me be a person that looks at my life and says, how can I make it better? What can I do to make it better? And let me take control of that. And that's the ideal here. How do we take control of our lives? What can we do to become that person of sovereignty that says, I'm outside of the rest of the world and their narratives, but I'm definitely inside of mine so that I know what the hell I'm telling myself. I have a story that enables me to expand and extend my possibilities. I'm not constricted by so strong of a conviction that I'm blind to my pride and egotistical ways that are actually limiting me in expanding. We are these men wanting to step into the role of sovereignty, to step into that role of a badass, to step into that role of freedom outside the narrative of society. We take back control of our life by realizing we don't know everything and there's always something to learn. If I learn it now, it's going to save me a lot of troubles and heartaches in the present or the future. So let me do it right here in the present. I love you guys. You'll hear from me next episode.